morning, Crypto Warriors, and welcome back to the Gym in the Crypto. Today is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto every day, Monday through Friday at 10-ish. I like to sing it. And we are live. And we are live. Good morning, Crypto Warriors, and welcome back to the Gentlemen of Crypto, episode 1340. Goodness gracious, I did not realize until today when I looked at the last show, it has been months and so much has changed, kind of, but not really when it comes to the price. Hey, turns out I was still correct on that price point. We are still in the same ballpark. Not much has changed there, but I mean, hell, some of my crypto websites are officially gone or changed. So a lot to be discussed today. I'm going to give a few folks some time to come in. I know people are texting me right now. Oh, bro, you about to go live? Yes, we back in here. We lit. But first and foremost, I got to play this song. I want to get lit today. I want to get hype. I got to play this Nas song. If you all haven't heard it already, it's his crypto song. And I don't even know how to share it anymore. I got to figure, there we go. How to share these screens. It's been that long. All right, let me figure out how to share these screens. Boom. I got to get hype. Let's get hype real quick. Let's get
trade, no chainsaws, cocaine wars, no bloodstains. I'm from the block with a chain, this a new blockchain. But my portfolio is many things, from quantum computing to biotech, cause it's life improving. Degradable plastic trash removing. And when the market is down, it's like a hustle when no coke is around. Your palm itch when opportunities found. It's Mr. Crypto, currency Scarface.
Bigger his chips.
Yeah. I lay criminal lines down over more baby.
All right, I got to ask Nas if we can borrow that song for an intro. I mean, goodness gracious, it's Mr. Cryptocurrency Scarface. We are in here. We're back. I'll be honest to you all. I expected to actually come back this Friday with some gifts in hand. More than likely, it's still going to happen Friday. Worst case, Monday. I hate to do that again. But definitely for sure this week, I got some things for you. Very exciting things to start the year off. But the reason why I had to come on today is because, as you see, yes, King has braids now. Them long hairs and got longer. This is a sign of health and good living. You got to remember, your boy is in his late 30s, okay? This is a sign of a person who is doing the right thing, integrity, not stressing. This is what it looks like, all right? With that being said, I got to chop it all off today because I have a big opportunity next week in Hollywood. That's what's been keeping up most of my time. I had some off-the-field things going on as well as Hollywood. And next week, I get the biggest opportunity of my professional life in Hollywood. So they want my hair to be cut with them waves waving. So that's going to happen next week, and hopefully I can tell you all more about that by this summer, whether it's good news or bad news. And if it's good news, my life changes forever. And if it's bad news, then whatever, I'm still in the mix. We'll figure out the next thing. But what I will say is I can officially say I've technically made it in Hollywood just at where I'm at right now. So it's been great. But enough of all that stuff. Let's go ahead and give some quick shout outs. Then we're going to go ahead and get straight to the crypto. And of course, I can't even open the chat right now. This is crazy. Let's just get straight to prices right now then. Coming in hot, of course, about to go ahead and check out Cointelegraph, or excuse me, what is it? It's Coin Market Cap. I'm glad they're still actually in business right now because I'm seeing so many other ones that are, like I said, have been knocked off. You know, was it websites are changing, all types of stuff are going on. Not sure why, but again, this is cryptocurrency, and we know it always gets crazy here. So again, Coin, what is this? I can't even say right now. Coin Market Cap, Bitcoin coming in hot, $91,035, down 0.311% on the 24-hour clock. Ethereum at number 2 at $3,148. Surprisingly, I mean, they literally have survived these last few months, down 4.31% on 24-hour clock. You can see these numbers bounce around right in front of me. Number 4, XRP at $2.18, down 8.36 on the 24-hour clock. BNB at number 5, $896, down 2.6. Solana, number 6, $135, down 4.85%. I will say I did not expect to see Solana actually drop that low price point wise. Number 8, Tron. If you remember, months ago, all the way last year or so, of course, I was saying that Tron kept slowly creeping up in price point and staying in that top 10. Last time I remember, they were number 10, 11 or 10, 9, 10, going back and forth. Looks like they solidified that spot at number 8, 29 cents, up 1.16. Number 9, Dogecoin at 14 cents, down 5%. And number 10, Cardano is somehow still alive. Listen, I thought y'all would have offed them for me while I was gone. Okay, Cardano's at 40 cents, down 6.1%. And yeah, I can't wait to see what new products or things they're working on. Fear and Greed Index is at 49. Kind of expected that. There's a lot of hype in the market right now, of course, with the U.S. going against Venezuela and how different markets are changing. They're talking about Venezuela might have hidden Bitcoin, or how the barrels of oil can increase our efficiency in Bitcoin mining. Not sure how that's going to work, but there's a lot of talk about the price of Bitcoin right now when it comes to geopolitics. So again, that fear and greed index makes sense. Something that was surprising to me today, let's see if it pops back up. Bitcoin dominance I saw was still, of course, pretty high, but I saw Ethereum dominance also moved up. I'm not sure if it's going to bounce up, but they're doing this little rotating thing for the dominance now. So not sure if I'll be able to see it. But earlier I did check. I think Bitcoin dominance was like at a 58 something point something, and Ethereum dominance was actually at like a 12 percent, 12 point something as well. Again, caught me off guard. I would have thought they kind of died down the last year or so, but there it is. Bitcoin dominance 58.3%, Ethereum 12.2. Shout out to Ethereum for staying alive. Though once again, I do know that some of their fees have gotten better. I'm not going to say that's the reason. I think it's more on an institutional side of things of why Ethereum's doing well. I'm seeing a lot of news of their ETFs and things like that. So we'll get to that in a moment. First, I'm trying to figure out why I cannot see these comments. I'm not sure, but I'll figure it out here in a second. Let me go to YouTube real quick. Boom, there we go. I can see the comments on YouTube. I cannot see them on Restream, but let me get some shout outs. What up, though? BK Crypto, Patrick Walter, Ali Pugh. At first, I was like, dang, ain't nobody gonna check in? Ain't nobody gonna come to the live stream? This how we gonna do? Nah, I was like, I know I can't see these comments. Barone, Ali Pio, Kareem, who's this? Chemo and Crypto, Hi Ben. What else we got? Price Cobbs. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy New Year. D, no ID. Wisdom Bars. Look, we got the whole crew back in here. That's what I'm talking about. Khalifa Wright, Mozzie. Crypto Blood, CB News in the house. What up, though? Hey, Crypto Blood, I'll be back in Detroit soon. I'm about to make that happen ASAP. I gotta go see my fam, so I'll definitely be hitting you up. Let's see. There we go. East side and west side is represented. Michigan in the house, Detroit in the house. Chemo and Crypto. All right, welcome back, everybody. You already know it's going to be a couple of small little technical issues because I haven't been on for so long, and so many things are changing right now, including, like I said, my comments. I can't see my comments. I gotta go to a different page, but all good. Let's get into it with some of these news stories. One of the top stories of the day, actually, again, this is probably old for you all. You've been paying attention. If you've been in the Discord, I've still been in the Discord. A couple comments here, but I've been watching everything. But one of the biggest stories for me today is the Cointelegraph. I did not know they were going through some troubles, folks. Cointelegraph is going, what is it? Take me through there. They are getting taken through there right now. I went to Cointelegraph. I just typed Cointelegraph into Google today, hoping, of course, for it to pop up, get my news stories aggregated, and then publish them or speak about them to you. And to my surprise, I could not find Cointelegraph on the Google search. 6 something in the morning, I'm waking up. I'm like, hold on. I had to get all the way up. I'm typing it. I'm seeing nothing pop up. I saw CoinDesk did an actual story on it. All these people are doing stories on it. If you look to the right of this screen right now, you can see what happened to Cointelegraph. There's a story actually today that just dropped about it. But essentially, as it says here in the AI overview, Cointelegraph hasn't disappeared, but faced major issues in 2025, including a June phishing attack exploiting their site for fake airdrops. I was around then. I remember that. But it looks like they had another problem in late 2025, sometime in November, I believe, where it says following algorithm updates, Cointelegraph experienced a sharp decline in rankings, sometimes even for its own name, impacting discovery. The attack, coupled with issues on third-party systems, damaged trust and led to speculation about its status. And as far as Google goes, they've essentially, I don't know what it's called, but Google made it unsearchable, basically. So you have to type in the Cointelegraph website for the most part for it to actually pop up. Again, I know a lot of you have already probably seen this, but for me today, again, I've taken a few months off from searching on the websites. I've just been relying on top news stories. I've kind of scoured some stuff that I've been interested in, but for the most part, I haven't been doing a Cointelegraph specific search. So today, seeing this, oh man, it broke my heart. It broke my heart. They've been around for a long time. They've been doing a good job. So of course, I would love to see Cointelegraph continue. And even when I went to their website today, you'll notice as I go over this first story, they actually don't even have advertisements on one side of it. So super interesting. Not sure exactly what's going on with them, but it is what it is. All right. With that being said, let's roll into this top story of the day. I'm also going to be talking broad overview today. I'll start getting into more of the specifics on the next show. And really quick, with that being said, I got to be honest. I have to be honest, folks. Again, my game plan has always been to be that guy in Hollywood or wherever I do to give you that crypto news still. And I do not want to abandon this. I will say the shows may actually decrease as I get started back. I'm hoping to do 2 to 3 a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or possibly just Monday and Fridays, Wednesdays and Fridays. We'll figure it out. But with the deal I have coming up here for this big opportunity, I might be on TV from now on. And I'm not sure how much they're going to be like, yo, we paying you all this money to be on TV. You can't just be popping up on YouTube for the free every day, bro. So I got to make sure I can balance that. But again, we'll see. Maybe it doesn't even happen, right? Bitcoin enters strength phase, but 100K debate heats up between traders. Of course it does. Listen, this, this is one of the reasons why I've been gone. Like I do understand the market. I do know how to read the market. I knew the market wasn't about to shake. Folks, y'all thought we was about to go to 140, 150 and just keep going? No, 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 no. It doesn't work like that. We all know that. We expected it. We hoped it. Again, we kept saying it was giving us 2017 vibes. Well, to take it back to 2017, if you remember, we thought, yeah, hey, this thing is not going to stop. This is going to 100,000 now. It's going to a million now. And then what happened? It ran out of that steam. So we were literally last year comparing everything to 2017 vibes, and I expected no less. You remember, I think I was calling, I said anywhere from 125 to 140. Then I expected a 70 or excuse me, like a 50%, 60% drop. I think I said something like that. Down to no, it was less than that, probably 40, 50%. Because I was thinking about a 70, 75 price point Bitcoin, which I think we kind of tapped down to what 80 or something a few months ago. So I wasn't that far off with a lot of my predictions. Actually, looking at the total market, I'd say I was pretty close in comparison to most people out there, if not the closest. I think this is my second time doing it because I called that 75K top a few years ago as well. So again, seriously, a part of the reason why I haven't been on is because there was nothing to be on about. I saw the market, we weren't going anywhere, and here we are at the same spot. So nothing for the most part has been missed, but the continued debate of what's going on. So here's my thoughts. Bitcoin structure has turned bullish, as it says here, yet traders are split on whether $100,000 could mark a bull expansion or bear continuation. I think $100,000 right now will mark a bear continuation, and here's why. Uh, a lot of that buildup last year to that 100K, 125, 100, 122, we get 127, I think, on some markets. A lot of that buildup was due to institutional fervor, right? The fact that they were getting into Bitcoin, they were buying up a lot of Bitcoin or establishing ETFs. We saw saw yesterday that a bunch of ETFs have rolled in. Like it was all this institutional interest, right? That raised the price not only from an institutional point of view, but also a retail point of view, because people are saying, hey, if Chase is doing their thing, if Bank of America, Fidelity, if all these people are actually going to go, then we need to be dumping more money into it. I see you all in the Discord still talking about dollar cost averaging. I love to see that. Of course, that's what you're supposed to be doing. For those who don't know, dollar cost averaging is just putting the same amount of capital toward your Bitcoin or other portfolio purchases at the same frequency. So whether it's once a week, once a month, every day, you have a set number, whether it's $5, 550, or 5,000, that you'll continue to throw into Bitcoin or your portfolio. Okay. I say all that to say that price point, when it was being raised from that institutional interest, we had already kind of reached the peak without us knowing, right? Like there was actually no work being done. There was investments there was investments happening. And of course, with some of these big companies, when that price dips and we start to see some of this turbulence, they're pulling out their money as far as institution goes because they don't have the stomach to say, hey, we're going to sit on a 5% drop. Like, why would they do that with a $20 billion portfolio? So that has a lot to do with that chop we saw with the price volatility going up and down. But by and large, and this is another reason why I thought, hey, we could actually reach 140 or something, but we see this big dip. And it's because there was nothing actually being created or made, right? You, of course, you had your Bitcoin ETFs, your Ethereum ETFs are getting pushed through, and every other ETF. Again, you have institutions directly buying Bitcoin as well, but there was nothing in the market to where these institutions are saying, hey, we finally have XYZ set up. I can't remember what the story was, like a week or two ago or a few weeks ago, where I guess Visa and a few payment processors were saying, hey, you can pay with Bitcoin now everywhere. It doesn't matter. We're going to fix this. We're going to make it work. That's happening this year. They're unrolling that out this year. That had not been unrolled out. So that's the type of the actual activity I'm looking for when you talk about product phase. Like, are we just using Bitcoin as a store of value, or are people going to continue to spend with it? or stake with it or use it as collateral to get loans. Like that hasn't actually been realized yet. It's been talked about. There's been investments in it, but it hasn't been realized. And that is the reason why I didn't think we were going to go to 140 and beyond to begin with, because it was like, well, why? There's no like 140 and beyond is just straight buying power. It's not actual activity. So I haven't seen that activity yet, but I have finally seen the plans for that activity, right? I'll be talking about Bank of America today. They're rolling out stuff. Of course, JP Morgan Chase just fully rolled out their crypto or whatever. And then, as I just mentioned, somebody correct me in the comments, was it Visa or MasterCard or one of them? I know one of these payment processors and one of these debit cards are saying, hey, we're going to do some partnerships with Bitcoin as far as being able to use it to purchase things. So all of this is actually new. This is what I've been waiting on. This is the activity I've been waiting to see. So I do think we will. I mean, again, we're at what today, 90 something thousand. We're going to touch 100K. Uh, I mean, I think it's going to be choppy until March, honestly, folks. I think it'll be choppy until March. And then this summer, as we get into Q2 into the summertime, we'll actually see those pumps and those gains again once that activity is realized. But again, right now, it's not much outside of investing happening, right? People are getting hyped up on investing. You see right here on the right side, advertise with us. This has never been empty. I bet I know. Let me holler at Cointelegraph. Tell them I got $50. I got 1,000 satoshis. Let me get a little quick advertising going on here. Bitcoin is attempting to transition to a phase of strength, as they call it, after weeks of range trading between 90 and 86,000. While the technical structure has improved, Bitcoin traders debate whether the move has momentum or risk of becoming a bull trap. Bitcoin indicator flipped firmly bullish as Bitcoin reclaimed a position above 90K. One of the things I want to push back on this bullish indicator is that, again, this is what people are forgetting, because 90K was the all-time high. Most people are only thinking like, hey, if we can get back to 90K, or excuse me, not 90K was all-time high. Since 90K is closer to the all-time high, people are thinking we get back to that, then we'll just go beyond it. But that's not the way it works. You remember on that last dip, again, we went to what, 80 something thousand, 75, 76, 77,000 on some markets. We have to recover from that. So let's just say, let's just call that 78,000, right? To go from 78,000 to 92,000 where we're at right now, that took work. That took actual investments. That took market makers, market movement, liquidity. So while all those things are happening, Bitcoin and the market itself is already working in overdrive just to get back there. So just to get back to the 100K mark, which again is a psychological mark, and then to get back to our all-time high of 125, 127, those are all going to be heavy lifting activity. It's not going to happen overnight, as it hasn't happened overnight, right? Again, I don't think it's going to happen until about March, April-ish right now. I think we're going to be on a slow roll until then. So I kind of push back on this, saying that this is a firmly bullish indicator now that it's above 90K. I don't think so. I think it's actually a bearish indicator that it took so much to get back to 90K. What you wanted to see was that drop and then almost an immediate bounce, which we saw kind of twice, but it wasn't sustained. We saw it go down to 80 something back to 90 two times over the past few months, but it wasn't sustained. So to me, that is, again, we're talking, these are high numbers. We're still talking 90K of Bitcoin, 100K of Bitcoin, but going toward the all-time high and beyond, I do not think we are in a bullish phase just yet. Another key takeaway says momentum and channel positioning favor continuation, but near-term overbought risks remain elevated. And that's what I'm just kind of saying. I think it was institutional overbought as well as retail. Everybody looked at what the institutions were doing. Everybody went crazy. This is the year. This is about to happen. And then again, when it was actually realized, it was like, this isn't the year and it's not happening just yet, but we are on the precipice. On-chain accumulation continues to absorb supply, while traders disagree on whether 100K marks expansion or exhaustion. Again, I'm saying it's going to mark exhaustion. I think if it wasn't going to mark exhaustion, believe me, we'd be there by now, just off the psychological part of it. Something else to consider, a few things to consider also. There's recession talk, right? People are saying, hey, things are tight. Money isn't flowing like it used to. So you have talks of recession, you have talks of war. There's so many things going on in the political landscape. Trump just came out and said, hey, I might be getting impeached if the House flips or whatever flips or whatever like that. So a lot is going on. But again, those are all indicators that we are exhausted right now. There isn't capital to throw into Bitcoin and crypto. And again, why would it be? With so much going on in the world, of course, you want to continue to open up this portfolio, plan for the future, but people are actually planning for right now at the same time. So it's something to seriously consider. All right. What else do we have? Bitcoin ETFs. Look at this. Okay, I see. I see. Bitcoin ETFs attract 697 million in second trading day of 2026. Spot Bitcoin ETFs have hauled in 1.1 billion in the first 2 days of 2026, with analysts pointing to a new year clean slate effect driving digital asset demand. All right. For those who are new, haven't seen me in a while, or don't know the story, again, in my past life, I did PR for the military, public relations, spokesperson, all that good stuff. I know how to write narratives. I know how to write things to make it seem one way. And this is what it is. They are creating a new narrative going into the new year, hoping that this will pump prices, calling it a quote unquote clean slate effect. Like, come on, where did that come from? Like, how old is Bitcoin? Bitcoin's a teenager right now. We're talking about a clean slate effect in the new year. No, again, we talked about this in the past. This is just rotating and revolving capital, right? Before the year ended, a lot of these big institutions took out a lot of money from their ETFs and things like that. I mean, I would say at least 500 million on the low end was taking out toward the end of the year for whatever reason, right? So the fact that it's being rotated back in, again, I used that BlackRock example in the past. It can literally be one person with their finger on a button saying, hey, we're going to take the United States firemen and police department's portfolio out of Bitcoin today, and we're going to put it into steel. And then the new year came, and now they're saying, okay, we're going to put all that money right back into Bitcoin today. So it looks like it's a lot of movement, but this is probably $1.1 billion from 3 to 5 institutions at most, right? Or at least the majority of that money, capital is coming from 3 to 5 institutions. So it looks exciting, but is it really? I don't know. What I will say is this trading 697 million, then the 1.1 billion, it hasn't been realized in the market yet. That is a good thing. So we may see a pump in price going toward Thursday night, Friday morning of this week to we see Bitcoin hit 95, 96,000. And again, that may be enough excitement for people to say, you know what, let's get this party started early with this quote unquote clean slate effect. But I just think we're exhausted. I do think we're exhausted right now, because again, from a psychological point of view, there's no reason not to push it over the 100K mark right now, with the exception of it being exhaustion. It says the renewed inflows are a welcome sign for Bitcoin holders following 2 consecutive months of net outflows from spot Bitcoin ETFs. Oh man, folks, you know me. This is my first time reading the article. I saw the headline. For somebody who's been loosely paying attention, I just said I guess 1 month. They're saying 2 months of net outflows from spot Bitcoin ETFs. So again, this is the same money that was pulled out of the market last year is going right back into it. The fund saw $3.48 billion in outflows in November and 1.09 billion in December, according to social value data. What I will say is that is a good sign for Bitcoin, because if you have almost 4 billion outflows, 4.5 billion dollars in outflows in 2 months, and you're still able to sustain a pretty high price point, I think that's a very good thing for Bitcoin. It looks like inflows to spot Bitcoin ETFs were the primary driver of Bitcoin's momentum in 2025. Standard Chartered's global head of digital assets research, Jeff Kendrick, recently told Cointelegraph, and you can see here with some of the different institutions and their actual inflow outflow holdings as well, if you want more info on that. So looking at other crypto funds, spot Ether ETFs attracted 168 million on Monday, marking their second consecutive days of inflows. And spot Solana ETFs recorded $16.8 million in investments, clocking 20 days of successful inflows, according to Farside Investors. A couple of things here. Um, when it comes to Ether, oh man, I don't know the ins and outs because I haven't done a deep dive. I just scratched the surface, but I do see that they're doing staking, essentially staking ETFs. That is why Ethereum is pumping. They figure out a new way to make money. They figure out a new derivative on Ethereum, and that's the staking side of it. They figure out a new way to make money to pay investors. So now Ethereum is getting its dominance back and is all in the news and is at the big dance and is at the big party. Everybody's looking at it. With that being said, competitors like Solana have actually slowed down with growth because now Ethereum is taking center stage, and the marketing is reading as, hey, we're still here and we're the best, and we finally figured out the gas fees and all that other stuff, right? So you have competitors like Solana actually start to lack. Not because I'm saying they're doing anything that wrong, but because Ethereum is finally stepping up to the plate people thought they would be. And again, I don't think they're fully doing that. I think the institutional side of the house is really protecting them and kind of building them up as well. It looks like the renewed demand for crypto ETFs reflects a rebalancing phase. Hilarious. If you remember, like this was literally what I used to say in 2013, 2014, when the US Navy initially was the pivot to the Pacific, where we pivoted a lot of our forces to Pacific, but it made it seem like we were actually about to fight in the Pacific. So we renamed it the rebalance to Pacific because we were saying, hey, we're not pivoting. We're already in the Pacific. We're just rebalancing some of our forces. And now I'm seeing here the renewed demand for crypto ETFs reflects a quote, and they even put it in quotations, a rebalancing phase. People, this is PR written all over this article, okay? Driven by geopolitical risk and liquidity positioning as fundamental market drivers remain constructive despite the elevated uncertainty, according to Lacey Zhang, research analyst at BitGet Wallet. Again, what have I said? Whenever you start seeing word soup, you know the BS is here. The renewed demand for crypto ETFs. Here's the word soup. Rebalancing phase is word soup, driven by a geopolitical risk and liquidity positioning word soup. As fundamental market drivers remain constructive, word. What is all this word soup about? Here's the point. Crypto ETFs don't have any more interest or any less interest than they had the last 2 years. Again, I don't think what these institutions are deciding to do with their money has much to do with crypto interest or ETFs or whatever else, as much as it has to do with opportunities, right? Where like Bitcoin, as much as I love Bitcoin, crypto, and everything, you all know this is my primary market. It is not the only market. So, late last year, this whole thing with Venezuela is going on. These talks are already in. Yes, if I'm a multi-billion-dollar company, as much as I love Bitcoin and crypto, it's choppy right now. It's super choppy. But you know what's not choppy? The Department of Defense, right? The new missile, the F-35s that's flying over Venezuela dropping bombs, right? All that stuff is not choppy. So if I'm a BlackRock or any other of these multi-billion-dollar companies, I'm going to reinvest those portfolios. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to rebalance those portfolios and take some out of Bitcoin, some out of crypto, some out of ETFs, and I'm going to put them into whatever technological field or weapons field or steel building or wherever else that signals wartime. Like, and that's just one example, right? There's so many things going on in the world when it comes to the environment and everything else. So there's so many opportunities to invest. I think that was the primary cause of the withdrawals from ETFs more than it was Bitcoin or crypto doing anything crazy or fancy. Like Bitcoin and crypto has been doing what it's going to do, right? These institutions are people, right? They're ran by people, and they're also doing what they want to do, and it does not always align with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Which again is why I say it's kind of dangerous getting so overhyped about these companies putting so much money into the market. And the reason why is because, as I said in the past, they kind of have the ability to crash it as well. If they wake up one day and get all on the same page and say, hey, every institution, pull out everything you have in Bitcoin and crypto and sink the market just so they can try to buy it back at a lower price, they actually could sink the market dramatically. I think I had it at about 12 to 15% last year. I mean, they're climbing upwards to 18 to 20%. They're not there yet, but they're climbing toward that mark right now if they were to do it simultaneously. So, again, I'm still saying this is all signs of exhaustion in the market, not necessarily the market itself, which is a good thing. It's a great thing because that exhaustion will only last so long before it pops back, which I think, again, will happen about March or April. Let me go ahead and check out the comments. I see the comments are coming in crazy. Analog Athletics, what's going on? MIA coin missing the action. Oh, listen, we are about to talk about them. Don't you know? Don't you know? Movado, what's going on? You said you ain't been lying forever. What you mean? I'm confused. What else we got? Definitely on the institutional side, a smart contract says Barone. I believe it as well. Hilarious. Justin informed me says this King or SGA. Hey, listen, I was waiting for the jokes. Hey, throw the jokes in, throw the jokes in. I was ready. Let's see what else we got. Courtney Johnson, what's going on? Let's see. I'm trying to look for some good comments. Price Cops, appreciate that. Price Cops said you did call it the top. Good analysis. That's why I'm back right now because I think it's about to get interesting. Alex G, what's going on, Alex G? Alex says it's been so long. Boy got braids now. You already know it. Listen, I'm about to chop it off as well. Jake Fever. Listen, I ain't gonna lie, Jake. This is the one I saw too. I was mad about it, but I saw it too. Jake Fever says, 2026 King got Shador Sanders here. I'm not gonna lie. I looked in the mirror. I was like, oh hell no. I got the Shador look right now. Not in a bad way. I love Shador Sanders and what he's doing, but in general, I like King all the way. So I was like, oh man, I gotta do my own thing. What else we got going on? There we go. Jake Fever said, get to one Bitcoin or die trying. I agree. Okay, Alex said it might be my ad blocker. I'll check it out. I am on Brave browser with it, so we'll see. But no, I was on Google earlier. Google was giving me a problem earlier there as well. Oh man, I got a few Shador Sanders. You guys are hilarious. Um, yep, Jake, I agree with you. It did go to 90K over 2 times since the 80K dip for sure. Jake said it's bullish. I mean, listen, technically I agree with you, Jake, because it's always bullish when you're looking long term. But short term, like I said, I think we're exhausted right now. I think we're just a little exhausted, but we will be back here in a couple months. He said Meadows money rotation is going to go somewhere. Meadows, I agree with that as well. Let's see. What else we got? Yep, JP Morgan's. JP Morgan's all in. They're officially all in as well. Shout out to the Simmons family as well. I haven't heard from them. I saw somebody mention them about Meadows, so make sure we reach out to them. Let's see. Alipio said, I agree. I really believe the bear market will last longer, but at the same time, the next bull market will shoot us past all-time high sooner than we expect. I think that as well. Boom Bust Blog. Hey, shout out to Reggie Middleton. Definitely gonna give you a shout, Reggie, here in the next week to get you back on the show. Reggie said, I now have patent protection in the EU, UK, HK, Japan, and the US. Strong digital asset patents. It's funny you say that because in the Discord, Reggie, it was some folks actually asking about you, I think a month or so ago, and people mentioned to me that you did get new patents as well. They were wondering if I talked to you. So they are tracking that in the Discord also. So shout out to that. Any thoughts on the gang getting a 600K Bitcoin lick as far as the United States and Venezuela? That's what everybody's talking about. I do think there's something to the story. I don't know if it's going to be that much Bitcoin, but if you remember, Maduro was doing a whole crypto scheme. I almost call it scam, but let's just call it a scheme for now. He was doing some type of crypto scheme where he definitely was stacking some sats. So there might be some Bitcoin and crypto hidden away somewhere. But again, I mean, are we going to see it? I don't know. Is the gang going to tell us they got it? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right, back to some more institutional news. This is a really good news story, actually. Shout out to Bank of America. It's one of the banks I've been with for a very long time as well. But it looks like Bank of America lets wealth advisors recommend Bitcoin ETFs now. Bank of America, and this is what I mean by realized activities, right? Like these were announcements last year saying, hey, we're working on this or we're investing in this as far as different institutions. They're actually like, this is January 5th. They're finally saying, hey, we're going to actually get our customers on board with this now. I think people confuse the buying of the institutional buying of Bitcoin as well as the buying of Bitcoin ETFs. I think they confuse that with what the retail market was doing. Again, this is one or two people behind a button making all these decisions for these huge portfolios. So when that's happening, that's going back and forth, and they're rebalancing those portfolios. You're not seeing the you're not seeing that bull cycle being really pumped on the Bitcoin side of the house because it isn't real, right? It isn't real volume. There isn't real people behind it. There's not real people saying, well, I'm selling this, I'm buying this with Bitcoin, or I'm using this to actually buy my own ETF. You didn't see that. There's a few people behind buttons with big portfolios. And because of that, I think that's how you get this exhaustion. But this to me will be one of the first times Bank of America is actually saying, hey, we're opening this up to the retail side of the house, and we're going to let them go crazy with it. We're going to let them come to us, to our offices and say, hey, I don't want a savings account no more. I want you to use my savings account as an ETF or whatever. Like, this is what's actually going to be the next step right now. So this is what I'm excited about, especially when you start talking about places like Bank of America, who, again, the BlackRocks have the big portfolios, right? The firefighters union and all that stuff. But the Bank of Americas and the Wells Fargos of the world have the Kings, they have the Bobs, they have the Johns, they have the Tiffany's, right? They have all the normal retail investors. So it looks like Bank of America will enable advisors across Merrill and its private bank to recommend 4-spot Bitcoin ETFs, expanding beyond client-led access. Again, expanding beyond client-led access. Again, the client, that institutional side, they're going to actually allow regular retail investors to jump into it. Bank of America is making crypto a more routine part of its U.S. wealth business, allowing advisors across Merrill, the Bank of America private bank, and Merrill Edge to proactively recommend spot Bitcoin ETFs. If you remember when I first started in Bitcoin back in, I want to say I got off a deployment in 2016. Like literally, Bank of America sat me down in their office and they're like, "Why are you buying Bitcoin? Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this and stuff?" And it was just like, "What is going on?" So to see this happen, legitimately, what 10 years later now, which is crazy. It took 10 years, and this is my problem with so much stuff in life. I'm just too early half of the time. But for it to be 10 years later, and now Bank of America is saying, "Hey, all right, guys, we can do these Bitcoin ETFs now." It's like absolutely insane to me still to this day. But Bank of America's Chief Investment Office (CIO) has approved 4 U.S. listed spot Bitcoin funds for coverage: Bitwise Bitcoin ETF, Fidelity Wise Origin Fund, Grayscale Bitcoin Mini Trust, and of course, BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust. These 4 ETFs are among the largest and most liquid spot Bitcoin products on the market, which makes them easier for the bank to underwrite from an operational and regulatory risk perspective than smaller, more complex or leveraged vehicles. All right. So I won't get too much into it. And this is pretty cool. Bank of America had Bitcoin thing next to it, or the Cointelegraph put it out. That's a pretty cool sign. This is all cool, but again, I kind of want to point out what the article is even pointing out as far as the 4 largest and most liquid spot Bitcoin ETF products on the market. Like, uh, I'm sure that this is a part of their plan to bring retail along eventually, but again, it hasn't been retail. It's been institutions doing everything. So when you see this exhaustion, when you see these dips, that is why. It's because the institutions, again, I won't even call it exhaustion. I think they see opportunities in other markets, like you all said, metals. They're seeing that opportunity and say, why will we not jump on this possible 10% gain? You start talking NVIDIA and all these different chips, and was it Google now? Google and their machine learning and all their chips. It's like, why would you not rotate some of your portfolio into this market? And the only way you can do that is by pulling it out of Bitcoin and crypto. So I think they saw that happening a lot, and they're starting to notice the trend as well as the volatility in Bitcoin itself and cryptocurrency as a whole. And they're saying, hey, one way to fight this is so that we're not doing it with all of our big portfolios only. We can now bring retail for the in for the ride, and they may be able to stabilize it, which I do think is possible here in the next year or two for sure. But even in the next few months, if they make an aggressive marketing push, you got to remember, we still haven't seen that many Bitcoin or crypto or ETF commercials out there. I know Gemini has a credit card commercials out there. Coinbase has a lot of commercials and stuff, but we haven't seen, hey, ETF commercials. Go to Bank of America. Make sure you get your Bitcoin ETF. Make sure you do that. We haven't seen that type of marketing yet. So once we see that type of marketing, I think we'll see the market also change as well. Let's see. Just inform you. Okay, you was talking to Jake Fever. Do you think the 4 year cycle is still a thing? I don't. No, I agree with you, Jake. I do not think the 4 year cycle is still a thing. I think we're beyond that. Now, I will say it still matters, right? Like it's still a quote unquote cycle because no matter how you cut it, supply and demand, that Bitcoin supply gets cut, then we're going to see that demand be realized again within the next year, is what we normally see. But is that like the only cycle? I agree with you, Jake. The market has matured. The market has matured. There's more players in the market. And no, I mean, you could argue, even at a 12 to 15% dip or gain, you can argue that those 4 institutions or BlackRock itself is just as important, if not more important, than the 4 year cycle at this point, right? At the 4 year cycle, we know what's going to happen. Again, supply is going to drop, demand is going to go up. It's not even nothing we need to think about. It's going like it's just because that's the way it's going to happen. But it used to be that's the only cycle, right? Like that is literally what we're basing everything off of. I agree with you, Jake. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think we need to look at institutions as the actual cycle now and what they're doing because they, again, 12 to 15%. I said I think they'll be climbing. I mean, this year it's a strong chance that they can climb with the retail. They can climb to 15 to 18% of the market, which would be crazy. And that would be greater than a 4 year cycle. So I do think we're out of that 4 year cycle, but I do think there are other factors at play that are just as big and not larger. 52 BTC. What up? What up? That's right. The OG's back. It's funny. Khalifa Wright. Okay, that was the Meadows one. What else do we have? Crypto City. What's going on? Fanteezy. Happy New Year's. Cornelius Braun Knox. I said that ain't no Tyler Perry wig, is it? That is hilarious. I love it. Crypto in Focus said, what's my opinion on Sui? Facebook Meta connection, seeing a Google partnership. So I saw the headline, but I haven't done my research on it. So let me do my research on it and I'll get back to you as well. Jake, I agree with you as well. The current powers are trying to co-opt Bitcoin. Bitcoin dipping doesn't make sense for this plan. I think the price goes up. So again, that's where I was kind of going to by how much market share they're going to have, or not technically have, but have almost control over, or the ability to manipulate. I think that's the best way to say. When I'm saying it's 12 to 15%, and they'll be going to 18%. I'm not saying they'll have control of it, but they'll have an ability to manipulate that much of the market, I think. When it's all said and done in the next few years, I think institutions will be at 30%. I don't think it'll rise more than 30, 35%, which is still a lot, right? I mean, it's a third. But I do think we're going to get to about 30% when it comes to institutions as well. So we'll see. We definitely will see. There's May 5 says so the 4 year cycle is still intact until the trend ends. I'm rolling with it. No, for sure. It's still intact. It's just not the most important thing we need to go off of at this point. Let's see. Hilarious. That boy came back with the AI braids to the bank. Happy New Year. There we go. Let's see. Before you cut your hair, hold up your wrist and take a pic. LOL. I will do that. That is funny as I don't know what. See, just informed me said JP Morgan still hasn't told us where all that cocaine went. Look, I know, man. Look, JP Morgan said we still running stuff. Ain't nothing changed. All right, last couple of stories. Grayscale declares first Ethereum staking payout for US listed ETF. Again, this is what I'm talking about. It's the first time a lot of these activities are being realized or actualized, right? The last year or two, they've been talking about it. That's what brought the hype. Like just the talk of it and them buy. And again, even institutions buying Bitcoin or buying ETFs, it wasn't the retail market. It hasn't happened yet. So it was the institutions buying Bitcoin for possible ETFs and them selling it back when they didn't meet those numbers. In fact, you know what? I just came up with that now. I will argue that maybe some of it was happening. Some of these institutions were buying all this Bitcoin, expecting all these ETFs, and realizing their portfolios couldn't really handle it at the time, right? So for example, you buy 100 Bitcoin, expecting 100 Bitcoin ETFs, and you get 80 of them. Now you sit on 20 extra Bitcoin. As a company who trades, invests, and everything else, why would you just sit on that? So of course you will rebalance that back over to crypto, or rebalance that portfolio back over to steel or metals or whatever else, right? Right now, what they're finally doing is saying, hey, not only are we buying this 100 Bitcoin or whatever for our ETFs, if we only use up 80 of that for our own institutional portfolio, we're not going to sell back that 20K, or we're not going to get out of the market. Or excuse me, that last 20, we're going to use that last 20 to market toward the retail side and hope they can fill that gap. And that's me. That to me is the actual realized plan that they had. Before it was all talk, it was all hype. The market was budding off, and we got to 127,000. But when nothing happened, there's not people talking about it. You're not going to grocery stores and hearing people talking about their ETF, Bitcoin ETF portfolios. I think that dipped the price. It looks like institutions like Bank of America, Grayscale, and some of these other folks are finally saying, nope, nope. This is how retail investors actually get paid out from this. This is how they can be hands on. And I think that is what will drive the market. So, again, getting back to this story, if I can, there we go. Grayscale declares first Ethereum staking payout for US listed ETF. The cash distribution stemmed from staking rewards earned after the fund enabled Ethereum staking in October. It looks like Grayscale has declared a staking rewards distribution for Ethereum staking ETF for the first time, or the first time a US listed spot crypto exchange traded product has scheduled a payout tied to on chain staking activity. Grayscale Ethereum Trust shareholders will receive about 0.08 cent per share from proceeds of the sale of staking rewards, with the payout scheduled for Tuesday based on holdings recorded at market close on Monday, according to a press release published on Monday. Grayscale activated staking for its Ethereum products on October 6th, with staking conducted through institutional custodians and third-party validator providers. The move made ETH and Grayscale Ethereum Mini Trust the first listed US listed spot crypto ETPs to gain exposure to Ether staking. All right. Again, this is also why I think Ethereum is doing what it's doing, because last year when we started seeing, when Bitcoin initially started dipping, Ethereum was dipping as well. I remember their dominance was getting to what, like 8% or something like that. 7% was getting crazy low. But then you get Grayscale, you get an institution say, hey, what about these staking rewards? You know how it goes, right? What about the next thing? What about the next thing? What about the new derivative? Don't leave the market yet. So this has been a thing to me that has pumped Ethereum. People are saying, hey, there are more ways to make money off Ethereum. And if you remember, before President Trump came into office, the whole staking system was, no pun intended, at stake, right? The last administration was like, and the SEC was like, "Oh hell no, y'all not about to be just y'all not about to be using your money essentially to put it into a even faster, better savings account if you just want to use rudimentary terms." Like, hell to the no. The government and the SEC was not with staking a couple of years ago. So the fact that President Trump opened up staking or whatever, and now you see institutions taking advantage of it and seeing how they can get paid off it. We know how staking works and how you can actually make money off it, but we haven't seen that done at an institutional level with a huge portfolio. So to see it actually done and for it to actually work, Ethereum need to be thanking his lucky stars that these institutions came up with this game plan, because it wasn't Vitalik and the team that came up with it, right? They weren't the ones like, oh yeah, let's go to institute. It was institutions saying, how can we make more money, and working with projects like Ethereum to say, oh, you do some staking. Oh, like BlackRock's like, we can get this through the government, but like we can have this by next week, and they did get it through the government, and we now officially have it as well. So again, Ethereum maxi should definitely be thanking the likes of Grayscale and companies like that, because they are the ones, to me, that are keeping Ethereum alive. If it wasn't for this staking play at an institutional level, I'm not sure where they would be right now. Oh man, Voice Crypto, what's going on? Hey, shout out to Voice Crypto. Are you still doing the articles? I'm not sure if it's you or somebody. Somebody sends me I'm on somebody's email newsletter list for a lot of Bitcoin articles. I actually get a lot of my news from them. They've been doing a great job. So I'm not sure if that's you, Voice, or someone else, but it was somebody's doing a great job. Chloe Dior, what up, though? Hope everything's going well. The ETH treaty, the ETH treaties companies save Ethereum. You already know it, man. You already know it. Just inform you says Bitcoin increases in value. Investing in altcoins like Sui doesn't make too much sense right now. Not as much, unless they're going to be doing some crazy numbers as well. Said Crypto CD said, are we right there at mainstream adoption with a game show prize finale being $300,000 worth of Bitcoin? Did you see that? I saw it too. Uh, Not yet, but we're getting there. For those who don't know, yeah, there's game shows with Bitcoin prizes. And again, being on the Hollywood side of the house, seeing all the casting, I am telling you, there's so many Bitcoin movies, TV shows, documentaries that are being developed right now. It is crazy. I mean, I just, 3 weeks ago, Nas just dropped that song. He must have had a bag, right? Nas dropped a song about crypto Scarface and everything. Like, yes, this is still being spoken about. People are still talking about it, but I don't think it's fully mainstream yet, because people still don't like it. People still think, it's Bitcoin. The best way I can describe it, it's the self-driving car. It's the autonomous vehicle. People, oh, you and I use the Waymos all the time out here too. So people are always like, you use the self-driving car. I'm like, bro, this is you can't, humans can't drive. This is the future, but they're looking at it the same way. I think Bitcoin's the same right now, still 10 years from what I've been in later, and then what together 15, 16 years now. We're still looking at the same thing, where I think people are like, hey, you're a teenager, you're weird. I really don't want to talk to you just yet. I see you're here. I know you keep coming around, but I don't really like you. I think that's where we're at. But it will not last too much longer now that you have the likes of Bank of America, uh, Chase, and others shoving it down the retail investors' throats as well. All right, last but not least, Tether is in the news. Like Sats for Bitcoin, Tether creates tiny gold unit as on-chain demand grows. The stablecoin issuer said its Scudo unit, Scudo, I think I'm saying that right, Scudo unit can make gold easier to transact digitally as prices surge and institutional demand accelerates. So the big thing here is Tether creating this smaller unit. And the reason why isn't because Tether itself doing it, but because I think we may be able to see this happen across a variety of things. Of course, they're trying to put all the stocks on the blockchain and things like that. Well, once all the stocks go on the blockchain, especially now that you can fractionalize them, you won't be able to trade them as in one Bitcoin or one ETH or whatever else, right? You would use Satoshis, but also they're pushing these stable coins hard, right? So whether it's Tether or I don't know, GUSD, what else do we got? I forgot. What's the Circle one? I can't even think of all the different stable coins, but you got all these different stable coins out there. I think Tether's the first one doing this for a measurement in gold, but I think other stable coins may follow for other measurements of whatever stock or allocation they have toward their token as well. So I think it's something more or less to be on the lookout for. I thought it was pretty interesting. Again, nothing too crazy as far as it being the hugest, the biggest story out there. But I think it was very interesting that they actually did it for gold, because it's like, well, if you're gonna do that for gold, are we gonna do it for silver? Are we gonna do it But I don't know. Are we gonna do it for barrels of oil, right? When it comes to stable coins specifically, and they do it, will this remain a dollar to dollar trade off? Right? Will the stable coins, the regular side of the liquidity house, and will Bitcoin and crypto, will all that remain the same, 1 to 1, or will we start seeing changes? I think if they start doing stuff like Sats, there's a lot of room for mistakes. Now, Tether is probably one of the best out there at their market of stable coins as far as knowing what algorithms they need to use, how much liquidity they need when they're going over or underboard or whatever. They're really good at it. So again, I'm glad to see they're leading the way. But I do see another stable coin trying this, and I don't see it going as smooth. So that's why this is one of my prediction things out there. I just want to throw it out in the universe. I keep these myself sometimes. I think this is a cool idea. I think another stablecoin issuer will try it with another product, and I think something will go wrong, and that could cause a slip to the market. So this is something we need to pay attention to. Not right now. Again, it might be 3 to 6 months from now, but be on alert. We start seeing more stablecoins saying, "Hey, stablecoin XYZ are doing this like Satoshi's as well." Start to look out, because now it's like, well, do they have the team to do it like Satoshi? Is the algorithm correct? Is the code correct? Or is this something they're just trying to do as a quick money play that will fail later on and cause the whole market to slide another 15 or 20% again before we go back to some type of low where we need to rebuild? We shall see. Just inform you. Yeah, USDC, thank you. Said no more UST stablecoin. Look, I can't even keep up. There's so many coming and going. Last few comments for our call of the day. Michael Kennedy said they had self-driving cars and Tulsa Kings driving Stallone around. I still haven't seen that show. I got to check it out. Boom Bust Blog says, whose patents would stocks on the blockchain and stable coins infringe? Hey, we got you, Reggie. I can't wait to see it, man. We got you. Let's see. Courtney. Yep. Courtney Johnson. Great point. I did not see that. Courtney Johnson said, I wish I could put these. I'll figure out why the chat isn't popping up because I want to put it on the screen. But Courtney Johnson said, where is it? I just thought, oh, something has to make up for the penny. You remember they're getting rid of the penny. I think that's a great point, Courtney. Something does have to make up for the penny. So why not do it on the stablecoin side of the house? I think that's an excellent point. Let's see. Crypto for Life. Good morning. Good morning. Happy New Year. Just informed me says Waymo drives way better than your average LA driver. Oh man, don't get me started on that. Let's see. Michael Kennedy said, I get so much hate about crypto in the Midwest from the vast majority of people. That's what I mean. It's like it's mainstream as far as people know about it now. They just don't, they don't know, but it's not mainstream as people like it yet. So yeah, so that's just one of those things there. All right, looks like for the most part, that's the comments for today. Again, happy new year. Happy what's today? Wednesday. The game plans to be back Friday. I will say next week may be a little because the next week is a big week for me in Hollywood. So I'll try to pop on a couple of times. And then after that, again, the game plan is to do 2 to 3 times a week until the summertime when I figure out what's going to happen with me professionally. Again, if they want me to reel back on these, I might have to reel back a little bit for business purposes, but I'll still be here to do it. That and what other announcement? Oh, other announcement. I got some products. I got some stuff for you, some really good stuff. So hopefully I can push it out Friday, but worst case Monday. I know I've been saying that now for literally the last month. I got it. Everything's in the chamber, ready to go, boom, bust, as Reggie's blog. And the great thing about it is all happening at one time. So this is about to be a great year. Happy 2026 to you all. Continue to dollar cost average. And again, I will see you Friday with some more crypto news. Cheers.